For all of you, welcome. Please bear with us with the technology. When Karen and I were getting set up, we were having a few gremlins in the system, not wanting to show the presentation nicely. So please bear with us if we look like two old fogies who can't get our PowerPoints correct. But yes, a huge welcome to you all, and thank you for joining us. The idea of today is to just give you an introduction to the KSA, or the Kitchen Specialists Association. Tell you a little bit about what we do and why we are undertaking this project, the Kitchen Design Project. We sit in an industry which lacks a tremendous amount of skill set, and our members are always looking for new talent and new designers. It's a very niche market sector, and not a lot of people choose to join it as a profession. So we obviously are here to tell you a little bit about it and hopefully encourage you to consider it as an occupation in the future. The KSA itself, we're actually a non-profit company, and we've been going since 1989. So it's an organization that's been going for quite some time in South Africa. We are a combination of an industry body and a consumer body. So for the industry, we work to look after the kitchen industry, divided into those people who manufacture, make and design kitchens, and those people that supply goods and services to the kitchen industry, who are our supplier members, and then also those people that fabricate and do surfacing, so granite, sintered surfacing, engineered stone. And we represent them, and we work with them to look to increase skill set, make sure information is disseminated well amongst the industry, increase the ethics within the industry, and make sure that the industry trades stably. From the consumer aspect, we are there to give consumers help and guidance. People can approach us for advice and information if they're planning a kitchen, but we also offer a dispute resolution service. So if, for example, you're a consumer and you ask a KSA member to do your kitchen for you and it doesn't go according to plan and you're not happy, you actually have full recourse free of charge through the KSA. You can come to us, ask for our help. We go to site and inspect, and if we feel that there are problems, we work with the KSA member then to try and resolve those problems and make sure the consumer ends up happy and has the kitchen that they have contracted for. So yeah, we work twofold and hand in hand, both with industry and consumer. And yeah, so what we wanted to do is just tell you a little bit about the job prospects. Karen Bailey, who's with me today, my colleague, she actually has worked in the kitchen industry for a very, very long time. She now looks after KSA in KZN. And Karen has worked in the kitchen industry and herself, and has owned her own kitchen company. So Karen's going to cover a little bit of what job prospects are there available for you.
Thanks, Steph. Welcome, everybody. So like Steph said earlier, the kitchen design is a very niche market, and it's something where we are wanting to expand on, try and encourage young designers to come through and look at it as a possibility for their career. You would obviously go with extra training with regards to the design program, but the basics of what you are obtaining through your current course will definitely set you on the right path and assist you there. In terms of earning opportunities, kitchen designers generally will either just do the kitchen designs and you would work for a sales rep, or you would be the sales rep as well. A lot of the companies like you to be able to do both, especially when you've got anything technical on site. It's very easy to recall how you designed the kitchen, if there's any issues on site, how you can overcome it, or any specifics with regards to plug points and plumbing and that kind of thing. If you are doing the sales as well as the kitchen design, some companies will give you a basic and a commission, or others will give you purely commission based, which is quite nice as well. So your earning potential is really set by yourself. Not only will you earn commission on the cabinetry works, but you generally also earn a commission on the value of the worktops, as well as appliances and any other services that you want to extend to the client with regards to soft furnishings or project management that you can then work into your account and deal with the client directly. It's quite broad. You've got area to use your talents and your skills that you're learning now with regards to your soft furnishings, lighting, flooring, or that kind of thing. So our KSA members are really looking for new designers to come into the market. A lot of you guys have got some nice out-of-the-box thinking, which some of us older people don't have anymore. We kind of get set in our ways and have a certain style that we prefer, or we just have standard units that we like to incorporate in each of our designs that we feel really work. So new designers coming through with new ideas who like to work with something up and coming, out-of-the-box thinking, some new finishes and fixtures is exactly what we're looking for the industry. Okay.
Right, so by now, hopefully you've
Sorry,
received.
Steph, I think you've gone too far forward.
Okay, sorry, let's go. See, as I told you, PowerPoint presentations, not playing game. I'm looking like an old lady now. The project, as we said, hopefully you will have had some information on it now, and Karen's actually going to take you through the sheets of information that have been sent to your lecturers. And she's going to take you through and let you know exactly how you go about putting your project together and submitting it to us. This is where we get to see if we're going to play ball here with the links. Karen, are we playing ball or not?
We are. I can see it.
Okay, fantastic.
Just need to zoom out a bit for us, please.
Zoom out for you. That enough?
Perfect. Yeah.
Super.
Okay, so that's the first page. I'm not sure whether that's been emailed and supplied to you. If not, you'll be getting it shortly. So our first page is just discussing the entry requirements. All these assignments will be assessed on your CAD images that you supply. So we're trying to give you a very comprehensive document with as many outlines as possible so that everybody is on an even playing field, but at the same time giving you freedom to put your designs together and put your own spin on how you want to tackle this assignment. Your lecturers will choose the top 10 from your class to submit to the KSA to give further comment on. So we've put two briefs together, and let me just go back slightly in that all the images that you're seeing in this document that we've used are all works that have been completed by KSA members. So the first brief is for a couple in their mid-40s. They have an elderly parent that stays with them, and you are needing to design a home or a kitchen that is multifunctional and adaptable in order to suit the elderly parent. It's got a small budget, quite restricted, but don't let that scare you, because there is a lot you can do with the budget in terms of your finishes that you choose and very careful planning. One of the things that I would encourage you to watch, it's one of the resources we're giving you, and that is a video with a link by Bloom, where they have put up, they've come up with a thing called a spacesuit that somebody actually wears. It looks a little bit like you're going out to the moon with a big helmet, and it's tinted, and inside this suit there's little pockets with weights and stitching in certain areas like your elbows and under your arms to restrict your movement, to make your knees heavy, so it's heavy to bend down. And you've got little gloves that you stick on that have got little like prickly things inside that almost make your fingertips numb. And this is all showing different disabilities or comorbidities that elderly people have when it comes to arthritis, loss of feeling in your extremities for bad circulation, and then the visor is also for color blindness. So it's a very good video to watch, and will definitely help you to understand challenges that we might not have seen or don't quite understand, but it does make it very real for you, and it will help you in your design process. So use those use the tools that we're giving you there, follow them and have a look. It'll really help you. The next page is just giving you your floor plan. It's quite clearly laid out there, and you guys can design to your heart's content and see what fits for you. Please go ahead and have fun with this. Okay, next brief is for a young couple, recently married. They have invested in a small city apartment and they're looking at very modern finishes, focus on space saving and storage solutions, and enhance the functionality of the room. The wife works from home, and so she would ideally like a space within the kitchen that she could use as a small desk or office, because they don't have space in a second bedroom. So really have a look at that. I would suggest that you do Bloom's Dynamic Space course. It'll also be part of the resources. You'll find it towards the back of the document. And this will help you with planning, understanding the different zones of the kitchens that you can accommodate within the space. And that will really help you in your layout. The next is the floor plan for this area. You will see that there is an internal non-load bearing wall coming from wall B. This you do not have to incorporate in your design if you don't want to, and you don't need to worry about any cost relating to removing this unit. Design these kitchens as if the house is in its building stages and you're busy planning, so you won't worry about any kind of cost implications in this. Okay, the next couple of pages is just telling you how to submit your document. We will take you through another PowerPoint presentation accompanied to this in a couple slides later to show you how to submit your assignment and what all is required. You will need to save this as a PDF when you do your submissions, so that nobody can fiddle or change anything in that document. Okay, it's also part of the submissions. We'll give you a little checklist. You'll see that there's some assessment criteria coming up. This will also just help guide you as to the specifics as to what we're looking for in terms of the design, what we give careful consideration to, and this will help you in choosing how you do your design, what all you incorporate in there, and your finishes. So that'll help you as well. Just pay careful attention to that. And then your glossary here is links to a whole lot of articles that the KSA has put together. Every year we put a little booklet called KSA Consumer Guide together. And this is directed mainly at the consumers, and it's full of educational articles that will help the consumer and what to consider when they're doing their kitchens. Anything that we have come across during the year in terms of design elements, any kind of trends that are coming through, and also just anything with regards to regulations with gas or plumbing. Really helpful. So go through that. Those are all available on the KSA's website. So do have a good snoop around. You can download them. And then we have linked, this might be have changed since we did the document, but I've literally just linked all our suppliers that are KSA members that have got YouTube channels, and they've often got various little video clips in there helping you to understand different products, installation of different products, and also just any upcoming launches that they're busy with. So really have a good snoop around there and educate yourself and have a look at what all is on the market. Then we have put together a basic list of different finishes and the square meterage or the linear meterage cost of these. And this is to help you with your costings. You will get to a point in your submission where you need to put together the cost of the kitchen, the proposed cost, and you need to have a look at see what finishes you've chosen, how much those come to, and factor that into your overall price. One thing you need to take note of here is anything to do with your board material, so your doors and your side panels and your carcass material, that is all costed at a square meter price. When it comes to your worktops, those are costed at a per linear meter price. So it would be your standard depth of a kitchen counter, which is 60 centimeters or 600 millimeters, and that will run per linear. So however long your counter is or your overall meterage, you would then calculate it according to those prices there. Okay.
Right, so now let's move on to the slide I jumped to. So obviously, once you've got your project underway and you're ready to submit, we were trying to standardize the way that the submissions look, just so it's fair on everybody, everybody's templates look the same, and you're all being judged off the same basis, so that someone who's maybe got all the fancy bells and whistles to put the presentation together doesn't get an advantage over someone who doesn't. So Karen has standardized the way that you will be able to present that and submit it to your lecturers. Karen, are you seeing the slide?
Yes, it's up. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so your first page where it says there, your insert your 3D render image, I would suggest that you use almost like an overall view or your best overall view of the kitchen to really capture the attention. So yeah, there we go. You'll enter in all your details over there, your name, your year you're in, second or third year, email address, contact numbers, all that kind of thing. And that will help us just to almost create a little folder so we know who we're looking at and what we're dealing with. So here you'll put your design statement with regards to your response to the brief. Tell us what brief you've chosen, how you've tackled the brief, what areas you have met, and any kind of special consideration you've given, whether it's design brief 1 where the granny's got issues, any items that you want to highlight and bring to our attention. Here I want you to put your material selection in. So tell us exactly what materials and finishes you've chosen for your design, your door finishes, your worktops, and why you chose them. It's quite important for us to understand why you chose them. And then this slide is very important. I actually kind of feel like it's more important than your material selection slide. And this is the materials that you chose, that you were looking at, that you were considering, but you chose to exclude them. I want to know why you excluded them. Why did you choose not to use that material? Is it due to cost? Is it due to maybe color scheme or longevity or maintenance of the product? Anything. We want to know why you didn't choose them. It's quite an important one for us. This is where you're going to put your costings in. So that last slide on the previous document will help you with this. And one of the things you need to really consider is if you're going to freelance, or if you are working for a company, or if it's your own company, special consideration for your design fee. What is your time worth? Because if you're working for a company, they need to pay you your salary and your commission. If you're freelancing, you're going to invoice them for your time, the hours that you've worked on it, how many changes you've made, all that kind of thing. So you need to put that in there and give careful consideration as to what you think your worth is. And then your installation fee, because your fitters or installers are generally subcontractors, and they will get paid a percentage of the job as well. Usually commission based, they don't normally get a salary. So you would need to take that into consideration as well. Okay. Here's where you're going to start putting all your pretty pictures in. So all your renders will go into the next couple of slides. If you feel like you need more slides, then you can just copy paste the slides and insert it. Just try and keep them all in order. So you have some space there. Here you're going to put your floor plan in. We want to see how you've drawn the floor plan. We want to check what your depths are. And also just please bear in mind that if your floor plan is too big, we're not going to be able to see it on the screen. So I mean, if it's done on a scale that is like 1 to 1,000, we're not going to be able to see the measurements on screen when you insert that. So just bear that in mind, that if you can't see it on your screen, it's not clearly eligible, we won't be able to see it either. Okay, then your mood board. Put all your inspiration pics in here, whether you've pulled them from Pinterest or House, whatever. Put it all together so we can see the train of thought you had, and whether the renders you've put together correlate to your mood board and the materials that you've chosen. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Karen. Right, then the next thing that I think Karen came around being Santa Claus yesterday to campus, so I don't know if you've had time to go through it yet, But Karen delivered your project goodie box, and this has been a fantastic selection of samples that have been put together very generously by KSA members that will allow you to just see some of the materials that are out there that are currently being used in the industry. And in order to just help you with the information, Karen's taken the time to, on the back of the samples, just give you information about what it is and how they're used or what they're used for, so that it's there with you. You don't keep having to look it up. You can actually look at the sample and you'll have the information on hand. So Karen's actually going to take you through that sample box. But to accompany the sample box as well, we've also been putting together some resources in the form of video content for you, where we've been interviewing and having talks with various KSA members on a variety of subjects. And that's anything from plumbing in the kitchen, to board use in the kitchen, to hardware in the kitchen. And all of those are available via the KSA's YouTube channel. So if you go to our website, which is just www.ksa.co.za, at the very top of the page, you'll see a link to our YouTube channel. And all those videos are there. Now, some of them are quite long. They can be up to an hour long because the subject matters are quite intense. So maybe just make yourself a cup of coffee and plan to take a comfort break in the middle of them and work your way through the videos. The nice thing is you can do it at your leisure and take your time. So Karen, if you want to start taking the guys through your goodie box.
Sure. Thanks, Steph. So as Steph said, I came through and dropped off a box for you. You guys will have access to that to have a look. Designing a kitchen or selling a kitchen to a client is very much a tactile experience. They like to touch and feel what the different textures are like, put different materials together in terms of colors, and they also like to open and close doors and drawers, see how all the hardware works. So that's quite an important experience, and that's also why it's so important for a consumer to visit a showroom. So if you walk around, if you've ever been to Decorex, especially on a kitchen stand, if you've worked on one before, you'll find that the consumers come up and they like to knock and tap on the doors and what's this made of, and they like to hear it and feel the counters. It's quite exhilarating, and it just gives you a nice warm and fuzzy feeling to know what you're looking at. So the first item I'm going to go through is your basic melamine. As Steph said, I've put a little label on the back with regards to the finish, what its common uses are, and the different textures and colors you can find. So this here is a colored melamine. You'll be very surprised. A lot of people didn't like melamine, and it did have a bad reputation from many years ago. If any of you remember your granny's kitchen, it was probably a very bright orange with some oak in it. No more these days. We've got some wonderful colors and textures coming through, and they are just fab, and they look very much like a real timber product. So very nice and hard wearing in terms of being able to clean it and give it a little bit of a scrubbing. It does all come with a chipboard core, so this here you need to be very careful about with regards to water penetrating it. So your edging and the type of edging you use on your melamine product is probably more important than anything else with regards to your color or your brand. If your edging is not good and there's gaps, or the glue line is showing, or there isn't enough glue and adhesive, water is going to get in there and it's going to spoil your product. It's not going to last as long as it should be. Okay, then another product here is your laminate board. So your laminate is a thin piece of your melamine paper that is then put a gloss cover on the one side, and your other side will be just the plain melamine. This one is done on MDF, so you'll see there's a different core here. Again, have a look at our, like Steph said, our YouTube channel. There's a very nice video there which gives you a definition or tells you the difference between the chipboard and the MDF board, and how each of them are made and their different uses. So this is your gloss laminate. You would get another sample as well, 2 other little samples, one that has got a matte finish on it, and one that is a white gloss. It looks blue, but it's just got its protective coating on it. So one thing you need to have a look at when it comes to your laminates is how thick the laminate is. You'll be able to see nicely when you look at the samples yourself. But on this one, you can see there's almost no little line there. It's very, very thin where the paper has been laminated onto there. Whereas this white one, you can see there's very definite thick white line. So this is the thickness of your laminate, and this will often determine the price point that you're going to pay for it. It's very important. So a lot of the more expensive imported laminates, people go, oh, but it looks like it's the same as the cheaper one. What's the difference? This is your difference, the thickness of your laminate, and that will determine how long the product lasts, how scratch resistant it is. It does need some good cleaning, and again, your edging is the most important as well, how thick your edging is, and that the person that you're using to do these doors, to cut an edge for you, that their machinery is maintained so you don't have any chipping, and that the glue adhesive sticks on like it's supposed to. Another one of the little samples that you would get in your box is another melamine, and this is a textured melamine. So it's a wood grain, and as you can see over here, these little lines in it, those are like actual little grooves. It feels like you're touching real planks of wood, and that is your melamine that everybody's so afraid of, and yet it's come huge advances over the last couple of years. So there's nothing to steer you away from this, from using it, especially on a budget conscious kitchen. Huge array of colors and finishes that could literally suit any kind of mood or color scheme you're going for. Okay, then I'm going to move on to your PVC wraps. I'm going to stick to your kind of man-made products. So your PVC foil wraps is quite a thick plastic. I've given you, there's a booklet, there's different wood grains in it. There's some nice bright funky colors, and this can come in gloss, a matte, and a textured as well. So this will go on your MDF boards, and it's very helpful for those that want almost like a panel design or a fancy routed design on the door. So some you get like a little square shaker design, some will get a little line down the side with little diamonds engraved in it, or a little wavy pattern. That would be your MDF underneath, and then this is this plastic, this PVC foil wrap. It comes in a big roll, and it almost like pulls it up over the boards, and it's sucked down, and it's laminated over that. It's wrapped. Very, very nice product. We haven't had any issues in the last 5 years with any kind of delaminating. There is obviously some maintenance with it. You got to worry about water, that if you do wipe it down, you wipe it down with a damp cloth and you don't put excessive water in there, but also a very nice product to use. In terms of your laminates and your melamines, like I was talking about earlier, another product that goes with that is your edging. So you should have some samples of edging in your box. These are all matched to the laminates or the melamine. The edging suppliers work very closely with the board suppliers to try and get as close to a match as possible. Sometimes there is a slight variation. It all depends on what brand that your board supplier uses, but they do try and match it up as close as possible. So your thin PVC edging would normally be used for your carcass material. And then there's another little booklet like this. It's thicker, much thicker, and this is normally used for your door panels. Like I was showing you earlier, the edging, the thickness of the edging can vary between 1.2 mils to 3 to 5 mils. It all depends on how much you're willing to pay and what kind of finish you're looking for. Okay. Then we have a high pressure laminate, which can be used for, it's quite thick, so it's very difficult to bend. If I had to go too hard, it would snap. So this you would normally use for big panels on facing sides, and very often used in shop fitting. So if you think about like the banks with FNB or Kauai or Nedbank, KFC, all of those, they often use the high pressure laminate on the boards because they're a lot thicker, they're more hard wearing, and they'll last a lot longer. So not normally used in a residential setting in terms of a kitchen. You would normally use your standard laminates, but if you're wanting something thicker or for an office environment for corporate, these are very nice, and they also come in an array of colors. Your color will differ to the one I've got here. because it was just a sample, but it comes in a big sheet and then laminated onto your chipboard or MDF core. Okay. Then we have your natural veneer. This is a thin piece. I'm going to come up close here. It's literally a thin, very paper thin piece of real natural timber that is laminated onto chipboard. This you will use for people that are wanting a proper or real wood in their kitchen. So you would use this for your facing sides. So all the seam sides of the cupboards, you would use your veneer. And if they're having flat doors, you can use the veneer as well. If they're wanting a panel effect on the door, then you would normally use a matching solid timber. So a nice cost-effective thing when it comes to veneer is if you're doing, say, mahogany, we would normally use a veneer on the facing side that you're going to see called a crown sapele, where it will have all your big crowns and movement in the veneer there. You'll be able to see that. And then on the other side, that would be like on the inside of the cover that you're not going to see, we would use something called a quarter sapele. So it's the same kind of timber, but it doesn't have the big crowns in it, and which is nice for cost saving and just helps with your budget there nicely. So this would normally, I've given you a raw sample, you would normally put a clear lacquer over this, or you can use, a clear lacquer, or you can use a stain. In terms of your lacquer, I would always suggest that you use a water-based lacquer. This will help keep the color constant over the years. If you use an oil-based lacquer, it generally tends to yellow after a couple of years and really age the timber. So if you have an issue down the line that you need to maybe replace some units because of water damage or whatever the case may be, you will never get 100% match on the timber because it all depends on the different trees. It's a natural product. You won't be able to match it 100%. But in terms of matching with lacquer, you would have a closer match with a clear lacquer on that finish than if you went for a stain and oil-based. Then you've also got a plank. It's just a plain raw plank of solid timber. And this is also just to show you that it's clear lacquered on the one side and raw on the other. Again, you can finish this with a stain if you're wanting to put a mahogany stain on it, or some gray tints in terms of your oils. Those are also quite popular. So you would then still seal it with a clear lacquer over. Then onto your surfacing material. This is a compact laminate, very, very hardy. It's a very nice product. It can be quite thin, and it's very nice for worktops. It's layers and layers and layers of paper combined with resin and compressed, very hard wearing. You wouldn't be able to cut this with a normal jigsaw or blade like you would your normal board material. You would have to use a CNC machine, and then your core is constant. It's normally a dark brown or a dark green, depending which manufacturer you use, and you would then sand that with water paper to get a nice smooth and constant finish there. You have got some stone samples. You've got some natural granite. This silver solder that you've got is a baseline granite. So the costing of this, it's locally mined, and the costing of this would be on a par to your normal black Rustenburg. Please don't be confused with granite, that you think that it's always cheaper than what your quartz or sintered surfaces is. It isn't always. It all depends on where the stone has been mined, how rare it is, and how fragile it is as well. Your marble and your onyx, all those kind of things are quite expensive, and I wouldn't generally use a marble or onyx in a kitchen because it's quite porous, it's soft. Granite I would stick to if you're going to go the natural product. Please also bear in mind that granite needs maintenance every couple of years. You will need to give it a good clean and reseal it, especially your lighter colors. Then you have a sample of bamboo. So bamboo is actually one of your most eco-friendly timbers to use, and this you can use as a worktop, and you can use it as cupboard fronts as well. It comes in different thicknesses. So your bamboo product, if I'm not mistaken, a tree can be grown within 5 years, fully formed and used within 5 years. Your pines and your mahoganies take obviously a lot longer. So you'll see with your bamboo, I'm just going to turn it here, there are layers to it. So the top layer and the bottom layer, you'll have your grain going one way. So let's say it's going vertically, while as your bottom, your middle layer is then going opposite horizontally. And this is just to help keep the timber stable. This is called strand woven. So they basically take the strips or branches of the bamboo and then almost like crush it similar to a sugarcane process, and it then goes through the machinery and is set in the different layers combined with resin. Very nice product to use. It comes in a different color called baked, which is slightly darker. This you would seal also with a water-based lacquer. Then you also have a little box that was given to us by Silver Corp. And inside the box, you will have a little like booklet of colors. And this is more HPL, your high pressure laminate samples. So that's took off. And as you can see here, there you've got all your array of colors, your KFC red, your Nedbank greens, all that kind of thing. So very, very nice when you're looking at a corporate that you need to incorporate their brand colors. Very nice and funky, and again often used by shop fitters and not in your residential settings. Then you will also have some smaller samples of what we call solid surfacing. I'm trying to find some nice colors here for you. So little bit like a translucent kind of coloring to it. It doesn't look as in terms of the coloring, not so much like a solid stone color like you would with your quartz when you look at it. These are often, I've seen, used specifically for like renovated spas. If you see the counters, even the checkers, they can be molded into your curve shapes. They can be milled quite nicely. A very nice product to use. Very hygienic in terms of using in a hospital, or like I said, like in a store for their cashier counters. You need a specialized fabricator to do this if you're going to use it anywhere. Very specialized product and somebody that knows what they're doing. So do your research in it, but lovely array of colors. You'll see here, I'll show you, they've even got a bright orange to match your high pressure laminates. So very nice product. Do your research and make sure you have a good fabricator who understands how to use the product. Very nice for things that have got any curves and waves in them. You'd be able to use those. Then you've got some extra little Ziploc bags, and inside are different stone samples. So in this one is quartz. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the brand Caesar Stone. Caesar Stone is a brand of quartz. It's not the only type of quartz. You have also got Pro Quartz. You've also got Silestone. You've got Royal Quartz. There's a whole array. So they obviously have different colors available. Each brand has their own set of colors and obviously a pricing structure as well. So have fun with that. Then your next little bag is called Sintered Surfacing, and you've got a few samples. Your colors will vary as to what I'm holding up here. We just got a whole bunch of different colors, and I just divvied them up between each box. So very nice product again to use. Beautiful in terms of the colors that they're coming through in your marble looks. A lot of them can be bookend, some of them can't be. So you need to do your research in terms of the suppliers and the different brands and which colors can be bookended. So bookended means when you have a marble grain going across your island and you want it to have like a waterfall side, so the worktop will come down the side, and you want that grain to match, almost like it's the vein has run across and down. That's what book matching is called. One thing that you do need to bear in mind with your sintered surfacing is that if you have a look here, there's 3 different pieces in here, but they are thin compared to what your normal quartz and granite would be. So your quartz and granite is between 30 and 20 mils thick. Granite normally 30, sorry, and your quartz generally in a 20 mils. Your sintered surfacing normally between 12, 18, even down to a 5 mil. You need to be very careful with this product. It needs additional support than what your standard quartz or granite would need. So again, use a fabricator who has been trained and preferably recommended by the supplier. And you need a very good carcass base as well. So wherever the support has been done, make sure that your carcasses haven't been damaged in any way, whether it be a builder or whether you're doing a renovation and you're just replacing worktops. Please do your research, and if you can, I would suggest if you're going to go into the kitchen field as a kitchen designer, go for the training so that you understand what you're selling. Ultimately, the client is buying the product from you and you educating them. So you need to make sure that you're up to date with all the current training available. Another little sample baggie is Fragranite samples that was supplied by Frankie. These are very nice. So I don't know if you've seen that. Of late, there are some kitchen sinks and prep bowls as well available now in different colors. So this is very nice if you're using it for, if you've got maybe a very small space and you're almost wanting your sink to disappear into your design. So say if you've got black worktops, to have a black sink as well, it won't draw your eye to the sink area that much as what a stainless steel sink would. Your eye would almost flow right through and would make your space look a lot larger. Very nice hard wearing, scratch resistant, heat resistant, very on trend at the moment. So there are different colors available. Have a look and see what you want to use there. And again, some people will use the prep bowl in a kitchen and the stainless steel sink in the scullery. It all depends on what your client is wanting. So have a feel for that. But again, understand what the budget implications are as opposed to the necessity or the functionality of the product. You have also got 2 runner samples that I've put in there for you. So this one, you'll be able to take it out and fiddle with it. So when you take it out, I would suggest you pull the middle part out open and then close it again. So the one that you've got is, it's called a soft close. So it's a ball bearing soft close. And you'll be able to see when you open the box, there's a little gray section inside there. And that's where your soft close mechanism is held. Very nice for your kitchens, especially a ball bearing one if you budget conscious, but there are so many brands out there and each one has got their pros and cons to using the product. So you need to do your research. They've got cost implications as well as weight implications. So I wouldn't suggest using a ball bearing soft close on a big pot drawer. It's not going to handle the weight that much. But if you used it maybe in on a cutlery drawer or even in an office setting, that would be perfectly fine. You've also got a standard roller runner. The one we've been given are black, and you can get cream ones and you can get white ones. These again, I would use maybe in a bedroom and a chest of drawers or pedestals or in an office setting for a desk. They can't take a hell of a lot of weight. Some runners do come in various lengths. And also with the ball bearing, you'll find that some runners are full extension, some are partial extension. So that means the section that comes out from the carcass. If it's a partial extension, your drawer will come out and a section of the drawer will still stay within the carcass. So partially coming out, and a full extension, the whole drawer will come out to the back of the drawer box from the carcass. And then you also get overextension, which the whole thing comes out, and then there'll still be a gap at the back where there's nothing. And we don't really use overextension too. Generally, full extension on the ball bearing is the way you would go. Then I've included 3 hinges as well. Just 3 of your basic standard hinges that you would come across. There's obviously different ones for different applications, but your first one is just going to be your standard, and fiddle with it and close them because you're going to feel it. Like I said, kitchens are a tactile experience. So your standard hinge, if you close this, you can hear it slam, and that would be your standard hinge that would be fitted in most kitchens. So it's quite a hard opening and closing. So if you cross with your husband and you want him to know, you'll be able to slam and he can hear it. Then you also have your soft closing hinge. So the difference between them, you'll see if you compare it to the standard hinge, is that there's little ridges over here, and that's your piston that soft closes. So when I hit this plate, you'll see that it takes a long time to go in, and that's your soft close. So if you buy these and you want your husband to know that you crossed by slamming the door, it's not going to work. It's going to be, you're going to be frustrated. He's not going to hear it. So this is quite nice. If you can upgrade anything in your kitchen, if you've got a small budget and a little bit of budget left over, soft close hinges is the way I would go if you can afford to, as a basic upgrade. Definitely worth it. You also get your touch to opens. I haven't included that because that works on a little piston that is fitted onto your carcass. So those are also very nice, and that would go for a handleless kitchen. Then this big chunky fella over here is for your big doors, like a corner pantry cupboard or a broom cupboard, where you need the door to open past your 90 degrees. So you really want to open it and be able to climb in. So this is what you would use for those big corner pantries. If people say they want a walk-in pantry or a step-in pantry, these are the hinges you would use for that. And also on some of your 90-degree corner cupboards at the bottom, you would use some of these. And that is about it.
Thanks, Karen. So guys, have fun going through that goodie box, and I'm sure there are questions, and you'll find a lot of the answers to the questions about the materials already up on our YouTube channel. As far as questions going forward, because as you work through the project, there are going to be questions coming up. Your lecturers are free to contact us and ask for our feedback or our help if there's anything that you're struggling with. We are more than happy to be there as and when we can to assist you. As I said, we're trying to put as many resources up on our YouTube channel, and also if you're on the website, if you go to that that page where all our articles are that Karen's given you links to, you'll find a lot of answers there as well. But please put your questions to your lecturer, and if we can help, we will do so.